Hello, everybody. How is everybody doing? I think I'm live. I'm just going to hop on to my Facebook group now to see comments as always. Let me see. I'm going to wait a few minutes so that everybody can hop on who wanted to come join tonight's conversation. Let me see. Here I am. And let me see if I'm live. Yes, perfect. How's everybody doing? It's good to see you. Okay, let's wait a few more minutes so people can find us. And then we get started. Whoever is here, I can see that people start to pop on. Say hello in the chat. Let me know you're here. Let me know how your day is going. Let me know where you are in the world and who's on so I can hi. It's nice to know when people are actually, having a conversation with me in the chat. So I really enjoy that. It's nice. Welcome, everybody. So we are going to talk about the microbiome tonight, and it's going to be a good topic. One of my favorite topics, and one of the biggest topics there is, and one of the hottest topics there is as well in research and science. And I think we're going to be hearing a lot more about this in the near future. So again, everybody who's coming on now, please say hi in the chat, and I will get started. So today, we are actually going to be talking about microbes in your gut and the connection to inflammation. But I should really say we are going to talk about the imbalances of the microbes in your gut and the connection to inflammation. But before I do that, I would like to just quickly introduce myself because I know there's a lot of new people in this group, which I'm really, really happy about. And I welcome everybody in here to say hi and introduce themselves as well. My name is Cordula Marshall. I'm a registered holistic nutritionist, and I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's thyroiditis, autoimmune thyroid disease, almost 10 years ago. And it was a long journey, long journey. And I had to do a lot of things in order to get to a place where I can now embrace my autoimmune and live very well with it. So I'm a founder also of this Facebook group, obviously, and and I support women with autoimmune disease by mainly focusing on the gut, and this is the topic what we're going to be talking about tonight. All right, let me see. I'm gonna just check the comments here. All right, I see Susie is on. Hey, Susie, how are you doing? All right, let's get started. So when I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's, I first thought that it was a thyroid gland disease, right? I really thought that it was a thyroid gland disease, and I thought I can probably heal my thyroid by giving it what it needs. Because I was being told that my thyroid is not working properly, so it's not producing enough hormones, and it's losing its function. And so I was thinking maybe I can do something in order to regenerate that and in order to support my thyroid gland. So I was determined to find answers to support my thyroid. Whoever is popping on here, I see that a lot of people are popping on here now. Please say hi in the comments. I want to know who's on. And also, if today is going to be a little bit of an outlandish topic, and it might be something that is new to you. And just let me know in the comments if any of this makes sense to you, if this is like an aha moment for you, if this is something completely new or something that you knew before, whatever it is, how it makes you feel, I want to know. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the thyroid. So I thought it was thyroid related, but after many, many years of research and going back to nutrition school, so I put myself through nutrition school and lots of reading and learning, I realized that my Hashimoto's is definitely not a disease of my gland. My gland is affected by it, but it's not per se a disease, right? It's an immune disease. The core of it is at um, the immune system is where the core of the disease lies. And then when I learned that a good chunk of my immune system sits in my gut, then all of a sudden things started to make so much more sense to me, right? But nobody told me that. Like, no doctor explained that to me. So I had to figure this out all by myself. So, really, my immune system is at the core of my disease. It has chosen to affect my thyroid gland. And now I understand that my immune system sits in the gut, or a good chunk of it, right? Um, oh, hey, Dana, nice to see you. Good to see you. Hi. All right. So yeah, and then I realized, oh my goodness, it all of a sudden makes so much sense because I had gut issues all of my life. I really truly did, like from a very young age on. We're talking about bloating, we're talking about food sensitivities, reactions, allergies, ear infections, you just fullness, gas, all of it. So let me know, raise your hand in the comments if you had gut issues all of your life. And now all of a sudden it made so much more sense to me. Um, so there are so many parts to your immune system inside your gut, right? So the immune system itself is a large system, but inside your gut itself, there's a lot of different parts to it as well. A lot of different tissues, a lot of different areas that are part of your immune system. But one of the most important ones is your microbiome. It's your microbes, your bacteria, your microflora or your microbiome, however you want to call it. And so tonight, it will get a little bit outlandish here, but just stay with me and try to take it all in. Let me know in the comments how you feel about what you're learning tonight. Okay. Um, so, really, what we do, we live in a great symbiotic harmony with bacteria. So, that is something that we have lost a little bit. We have lost the symbiosis between bacteria and us because bacteria have been labeled as something that we need to fight. And there's a lot of antibacterial stuff products out there, soaps and body wash and all of it. But that's a different topic for a different day. But when you think about it, we are surrounded by bacteria. There's bacteria in us and on us, around us. Our soils are filled with them. They are thriving in the sea, in hottest places on earth. You can find them. You can find them below the sea, and you can find them inside your gut because they're everywhere, trillions of them. And on a personal level, bacteria comprise 10% of your dry body weight. Isn't that astounding? Like 10% of your dry body weight are all bacteria, right? And another number that might surprise you is that you have 10 times more bacteria in your gut than you have cells in your body. So you have 10 times more bacteria in your gut than you have cells in your body. Isn't that amazing? So you can see that the volume just in itself indicates that it's so important. And we're going to go into it. Also, I wanted to share with you that it's estimated that there are nearly 100 billion bacteria per gram of wet stool, right? So think about everything that you're pooping out during the day. There's like billions of bacteria in that, right? And human cells make up only 43% of the body's total cell count. That's just absolutely crazy, right? So you can see there's a lot of them out there. And these bacteria are called your microbiome, and they live in your digestive tract, your eyes, your airways, your blood, mouth, and also in your private parts. But the biggest volume of them, hundreds of trillions of them, live in your large intestine, your colon. So your colon is the main host for all of this bacteria. So when we talk about gut health and microbiome, we are actually talking about your colon. So keep that in mind, right? And you might ask now, why does it matter? Why does it matter if I have bacteria in my colon or not, right? It matters because those microbes, they function like an organ inside of you. They are another vital organ inside of you. That's crazy, right? Because they actually work for us. They complete functions, they have tasks, they have duties that they do for us. And they act as a major part of the immune system. That is one of their huge functions. And what they do is they constantly scan your internal environment, and they report back to your brain of what they're finding. And then the brain communicates back to the bacteria to start certain actions. And you can find a lot of research and studies on how they do that. It's really fascinating. It's like a bidirectional highway between the central nervous system and the peripheral intestinal function. It's crazy. Like I said, it's almost outlandish that those microbes are actually communicating with your brain because they're scanning your environment on a daily basis. So what they're actually the first defense of your immune system, your first defense system, right? And some of their functions are what they do is they protect us from microbial and parasitic disease, right? And then they also influence the effect of drugs that you take. So they can actually alter and break apart drugs for you. And they also affect our nutritional status. Very, very important. They can affect our nutritional status. So basically, what we're talking about here is we're talking about it's like a fingerprint. Your microbiome, your gut is your own personal fingerprint. Nobody's microbiome is exactly the same. It's completely different. It all depends on what foods you ate, whether you had a C-section, whether you were born via C-section, for example, your environment, whether you played in the dirt a lot, and all of that has a huge influence on your microbiome, right? And it shapes it, and it makes it different and unique, and it gives it variety. And that is what the diversity of it is what's going to. So the type and the number of your bacteria, they play a huge role in determining your health and disease. And unfortunately, probably let me know, give me hands up again in the comments if any of these apply to you. So you have received multiple rounds of antibiotics because of bacterial infections or ear infections from an early age on, right? I have. I was suffering a lot of ear infections when I was a kid, and I was just given the antibiotics like candy, right? They completely destroy everything in your gut. They have a huge impact on the diversity of your microbiome. So what they're really providing, like I said, this frontline action in our immune system, like a defense system, right? Yes. So I get a hands up here. I know it happens all the time, right? Um, and that causes you symptoms, right? That causes you bloating, that causes you acid reflux as soon as your diversity turns into is wiped out by certain pesticides, fungicides, environmental toxins, antibiotics, you name it, this will make a huge impact on your microbiome. And what a lot of people don't know, and which is super fascinating to me, is that they not only protect you, but they also actually manufacture many, many nutrients for you, believe it or not. So those microbiomes, certain bacteria in your gut, have the ability to produce vitamin K and several amounts of the B vitamins. Can you imagine? Those microbes in your gut actually produce those nutrients for you. So now you can see how it's starting to come together and saying that I know from experience in my work that a lot of us in here are oftentimes deficient in certain nutrients. And B vitamins are one of them. B vitamins are the ones that are almost everybody is deficient in. So now that you know that there is bacteria in your gut that actually produce B vitamins for you, you now understand that if your gut becomes out of balance, then this might affect nutrient absorption, but also nutrient production for you, right? It's crazy. And that's where the imbalance occurs when we're bombarded with antibiotics and environmental toxins and all of it. And so then when pathogenic disease causing microbes start to take over, we start to develop things such as small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, SIBO, right? Now the imbalance is starting to proliferate, and those bacteria are starting to move upwards into your small intestine where they do not belong, right? Which causes you pain, it causes you a lot of bloating, it causes you a lot of pain, right? You can also develop candida overgrowth and all sorts of different symptoms. Like, I mean, we're talking about so many different symptoms because of dysbiosis. So we're talking about migraines, we're talking about brain fog, we're talking about fatigue, nutrient deficiencies, all of it because of dysbiosis, right? And it's actually interesting. I'm going to give you just a little bit of information around candida. Is that candida is actually, you know, a fungus, and it you have it in your gut. It's part of it, but if it overgrows, it can actually travel throughout your body. And it's interesting to see that studies show that it can even travel as far up as your brain. And so there's a lot of studies around mental health right now and connection to candida overgrowth, because it has been established that candida overgrowth, if it's severe, it can most certainly affect your mood. Yeah, so your mood levels, your imbalances, depression sometimes, and irritability. Like it's a really extreme. If it's extreme overgrowth, it can lead to all of this, and then our immune system become overburdened, right? Because of all of this. So our immune system become overburdened, and then we experience nutrient deficiencies, and then we realize that all of those bacteria that are in our gut overgrowing are causing havoc because their waste is oftentimes more toxic than the bacteria themselves, right? So see how it all comes together. See how the inflammation is starting to show in different areas because of the dysbiosis, because of the imbalance of good and bad bacteria that that your body has created, right? Um, and it's a really huge factor in keeping our gut. We need to keep our gut healthy and in balance so that we avoid all of these different symptoms, right? And So we talked about the mental side of things. We talked about all the physical symptoms that you can experience through um, intestinal overgrowth and dysbiosis, and we talked about how how the bacteria actually produce um, nutrients for you, such as B vitamins and vitamin K. So you can see that it's going to affect your health on all different levels. That can then affect your immune system and your defense system. Because if you are not absorbing your nutrients properly, or if you don't make enough nutrients in your gut to nourish your immune system, your white blood cells, to give them basically the foundation, the basic nutrients they need to form cells, then your immune system will be weakened as well, right? So the question is, what can you do? What can you do in order to get the dysbiosis back into balance? Well, the number one thing is what you can do is, or what you need to do is, you need to repair your gut. You need to repair your gut, right? There's no way around it. And the things is that it's different for everybody. There's no one size fits all. There's no one thing that works for everybody, because of the fact that your gut is just so diverse, and everybody has a different health history, and everybody has different kind of like weaknesses in the body, and went through different um historical health issues. So it's really, really different for everybody, but generally speaking, there's a few things that everybody can implement in order to increase their gut health or support it on the way to feeling better. And one thing you can always do is, of course, take probiotics. Probiotics while you repair your gut with foods, right? So the best way to repair your gut is always with whole foods. Okay. But the probiotics supplementation can definitely help you along the way because they can fill a gap. But mind you, keep in mind that the probiotics that you're taking are not basically bacteria that you're taking and then they start to take residency in your gut. That's not how they work. There's a big misconception. The probiotics that you're taking, they are for those bacteria. They are fulfilling certain tasks as they move through your digestive system, right? As they are there and interacting with other bacteria, they are doing their tasks that are beneficial to you, but they're not, and then you poop them out, right? But they can help you to stabilize the imbalance, and they can help you to trigger certain positive activities that can help bring down inflammation. So it's always a good thing to take probiotics for sure. Another thing that everybody can do to increase or decrease imbalances is to eat fermented foods, so lacto fermented foods, which means fermented foods that don't that they're not made with vinegar, or vinegar has not been used in the fermentation process because that kills the bacteria. So lacto fermented foods that have alive bacteria and microbes in the food can be very beneficial to reintroduce certain strains, certain friendly bacteria back into your system. And actually, those strains that you're eating are, again, some of them are not going to be taking residency in your gut, just like the synthetic probiotics, right? A lot of them actually, but some of them actually might be able to start to settle, right? And so the more fermented foods you eat, the more you have the ability to increase the diversity of your gut and bring those things back into balance, right? Um, so, for example, us as a family here, what we do is we make our own kombucha and we ferment a lot of vegetables. And it's interesting. I'm going to give you one funny story that I'm going to share with you. Is my friend, she is Korean, and they make kimchi. They make homemade kimchi at home. And it's funny because they have this one day in a month where they bring out all the vegetables and they put it all in a big pot, and then all of the family members they wash their hands, right? But then they use all their hands and they're gonna be digging into the vegetables inside the pot, mixing and stirring with their hands. And it's an old tradition. And when I talk to her about it, it's interesting because that way you are introducing your family's strains of bacteria into the kimchi, right? So it's a very different bacterial makeup of this kimchi that is homemade than something that you buy from the store, for example, right? So which can be very beneficial to your microbiome. So that's just a funny story or a nice story along the side. So those are two things everybody can do. But really when it comes down to gut repair, it's so different for everybody. You have to take so many different pathways in order to really get the gut healthy, right? But and one thing I wanted to mention as well is what we should not forget. It's not just the food, like I mentioned before, that plays a role in our gut health. Think about your environment, right? Go back to what I said in the beginning, where I say we are immersed in a world of bacteria and microbes, right? Like I said before, we are 43% of microbes in our body rather than human cells. We have trillions of microbes, bacteria living on us, in us, everywhere around us. And we are in constant exchange with them. So, simply just by exposing yourself more to bacteria and microbes in your environment, you are actually nourishing your gut health, believe it or not. So, go outside barefoot. I love to do my grounding exercise in the morning. I walk barefoot in my soil. I'm exposing my skin to the soil microbes, right? Or touch nature, right? Or touch things outside, or try to stay away from the antibacterial soaps because they just kill the good and the bad, right? Stop over sanitizing everything. I know we're living now, especially this year, we're living in a world where everything has been sanitized every second of the day. So it's even more critical to get out there and into nature and get yourself exposed to your microbes in your environment. Because believe it or not, it's going to have a huge impact on your gut health and your dysbiosis. So let me see. I see a few comments here. Thank goodness. I love my fermented foods. Absolutely. I do too. And they're so good, right? And it's fun to make them. And when you make them, when you have, so spring is upon us, we're starting to grow on vegetables, we connect with our food that way. And then when we have so much food that we cannot eat all at once, we actually in the fall, we start to ferment our foods, right? And then we are just keeping the jars in a dark area. And like I said, if everybody is dipping their hands in a little bit, you're actually having like a really homemade, almost ancestral strain microbiome that you're eating, which is funny, right? What about prebiotic pills and or digestive enzyme pills? Are those as important as probiotics? Um, so so that's another big topic. I don't want to go into too much, but I will. It's actually a good topic for another day. I'm going to keep a note of that. So prebiotic pills, I'm not a big fan of, to tell you the truth, because prebiotic pills are what are prebiotics? Does anybody know the difference between probiotics and prebiotics? Let me know in the comments before I continue, because I want to know if you actually know the difference, because there is a difference. Um, I don't see any comments, so I'm going to answer that. So The prebiotics, so there's fiber foods have probiotics, and they also have, well, no, I shouldn't say that. Fiber food have a lot of prebiotics. And prebiotics are basically broken down fiber that turns into sugar that is feeding your good bacteria. And so your good bacteria thrives on prebiotic food. It uses it as nourishment, right? So I don't like synthetic prebiotic pills because there's just such an abundance of food, prebiotic food that you can eat, and that is so much more digestible and usable by your body that I always, always, always prefer prebiotic foods. And yes, to answer your question, prebiotic food is just as important as probiotic food. Absolutely, 100%, because prebiotic food is really nourishing your good bacteria. They love it. They need it. They thrive on it. Digestive enzyme pills are it's a completely different approach. So, digestive enzyme pills have nothing to do with with your microbiome per se. It's a different task that they perform in your body, and I will go into maybe enzymes in a different presentation for you guys. So, digestive enzymes are really helping your digestion more so than your microbiome. Okay. Um, Prebiotics in indigestible fiber and probiotics is living organisms. Yes, that is correct. And prebiotics are actually, they are being digested by your microbiome. So the good bacteria are actually digesting and loving the prebiotic foods. And the probiotics are really those bacteria strains that you're introducing in your system. But keep in mind, like I said, the probiotics, the synthetic probiotics, there's a big misconception. If you take them, they're not settling. They're just moving through your body and doing what they need to do as they are moving through your body. All right, everybody. I hope that was really helpful for you guys tonight. And thank you for your comments. I love that. And yeah, I will see you again next Thursday evening for another presentation, another live stream. And I hope that you guys will have a wonderful evening. I will see you again very soon.